Okay, so yesterday was the last day of spring black bear hunting in Alberta. So I thought I'd give it one more crack trying to find a black bear. Decided to focus my efforts on an area where I saw pretty big black bear boar a few weeks ago. And so I was kind of slowly moving through the timber towards the meadow where I saw that boar a couple weeks ago. I heard some movement below me. Wasn't sure what it was for sure. I couldn't get eyes on it, so the timber was really loud, so I just sat. Mule deer doe started moving above me, and with me not moving, maybe that bear thought that it was just the mule deer doe. Anyways, in a few minutes he came up behind me on the trail, and then that's when I realized it was a bear. He's probably across the trail, I don't know, 60 yards behind me. Didn't stay in a sight path very long, and then maybe scented my trail and then bumped up a little ways. Wasn't sure if he was gone or not, so I sat with my binos and I did locate him. And he was maybe 100 yards in thick timber ahead of me. I could barely see him. I knew the timber was really crackly, so I remembered I had a pred call in my bag, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try and call this sucker in. And that's what I did. Okay, so you can see here that bear is coming into actually really good yardage. So the problem is there's so much crap in my way in terms of sticks and twigs and things like that. Sight window with a gun, sure. With my bow, it's just not there. My guess is he's like 35, 40 yards here. And for some reason my rangefinder is just giving me 55 yards, and I just know it's not the case. I'm annoyed a little bit. He's sitting in a really good spot right now and at a good distance, but I just can't get a shot. And so then he kind of takes off to the right here. I try and readjust, and I'm looking for kind of sight windows here where I can kind of range some trees and things like that I can try and get a proper range. It's not happening, which is pretty annoying. So my brain's telling me 35, my rangefinder's telling me 55. I'm trying desperately to find a shot window here. Annoyed by not getting a shot when he was in a pretty good location before. So I dial 55 and think I'm going to trust my rangefinder, not my judgment here. You can see I kind of get back. It's not a great window. I try to take a shot, and I miss right over his back. I think the range that I would have guessed was right. But I had failed before in the fall because I didn't range and tried to just use my judgment on a mule deer buck that had busted me. So this time I trusted my rangefinder, and I don't know what the heck I was picking up, but it's annoying. Okay, well, that's a little tough on the ego. If he was at the range that, I thought he was, that's like a layup shot at the range. A little rough on your ego when you miss that. Probably a little rush though there as well. Sight window was pretty bad. So I have to have a short memory and just move on. So that's what I did, knocked another arrow. He didn't move off very far, and so just gotta, try and call him back. So I apologize for the camera work at times here too. Obviously my priority is bear, not filming this hunt, and it's just a Tacticam mounted to my bow stabilizer position. So anyways, I kind of get in this game of, call and wait for a little while here. So after this next call, I'm just gonna kind of skip ahead a little bit in the video to where he comes back into view. he just kind of keeps moving back and forth here as I call. I do draw back one more time, but there's no real good shot windows, and I'm not super comfortable with the shot, especially after I think I might have kind of rushed that first one a little bit. So I'm hoping to get a better kind of shot. So I'm kind of in this game of calling and watching him kind of move from right to left, back and forth in front of me here. Not really presenting a shot. Okay, it might be tough to see unless you're on a very large screen here, but he's kind of just peeking at me from behind a tree over there. So it's like, I don't know, he's still trying to figure out what the heck I am and what's going on, but doesn't seem to want to close here. You can kind of just see him behind that far tree. I'm pretty new to spot and stalk or spot and call, and even new to bow hunting bears in general. So he's probably trying to figure out what the heck my calls mean at all. Hoping they sound okay. So as he comes into view here, at this point I'm kind of thinking, I think that he's just kind of going to head towards that meadow to the south where I saw that bigger boar a couple weeks ago. So I figured, well, I really wanted to try and turn him around and get him coming back. So I thought I'd give her one more crack at trying to call him back to me. When I don't see him coming back, I just kind of stand up and wait for another minute or two here, hoping he's coming back. I tried one more call and then just kind of started to try to go through this really crunchy timber. You can probably see now why I didn't want to try stalking in when he was sitting at 100 yards. It just didn't make sense to try to move through this stuff. You can't be quiet. So I figured I'd probably head up to the meadow, set up on that meadow, and then just with better sight windows, hopefully call him back in. At this point, I'm pretty sure that he's headed down south, down this kind of meadow southwest. So I'm just trying to get up there and then try to give it a crack to call back. Once I get up there and get set up, I actually get set up and my calling brings in this mule deer doe that was hanging around the whole time and kind of bumping around as I called. Looking to save whatever fawn was in distress. Once I get set up here though, I realize my mistake in that he had not went down the hill to the southwest and actually kind of had went south but then went up above me to the east. Okay, so I'm set up on the meadow. This doe's coming into my calls, so I think I was trying to take a picture of this doe with my camera. Then, all of a sudden, I look over my right shoulder, and sure enough, the bear had went east. He's like 20 yards over my shoulder. I'm frozen, can't move. You're going to see in a second here. I get the camera on him briefly as he just picks up my scent and runs by there. He hides in the bush there. I start to try to call him back to me, get him to freeze. If I would have known that he was to the east, he would have came in 20 yards, walking easy shot. I just was kind of stuck, not well covered, couldn't move quick to get in position to take a shot. So he does stop, he holds up. I apologize for not getting the camera on him here. I call a bunch more. Eventually, after this last call, I can see he kind of turns and does run down the hill. I had taken earlier that day my truck down, dropped my truck, e-biked up to the trail. I was going to walk down and out through this cut line. So I just followed down in the path that he went, hoping to get eyes on him again. Never did. Anyways, so that was kind of the end of my morning hunt. Ended up walking out to the truck after he runs off after this last call here. So later that day, I had originally planned to do a different area, but just thinking after a couple hours, maybe the area had calmed down a little bit. So I went back, actually e-biked back in to where the bear was in the morning, and couldn't find him. Then on the way out, I'm e-biking on my way out, and sure enough, he kind of appears beside the trail on the way out, and so I dropped the e-bike, and you can see here, I'm actually just kind of, he's not looking at me, so he's just walking at a fairly fast speed, and I'm walking behind him. He eventually does cross the trail in front of me. It's like he never really gets eyes on me, but I'm not really closing on him. He's probably 100 yards. Eventually, he crosses the trail and kind of heads down into thick timber. So I kind of mark the spot on my app, log game tracker, and then I just kind of head back and get my e-bike and drop down in the timber where he went down in there, but I couldn't find him. Figures. I did find him at least one more time later in the day, but just couldn't close for a shot, couldn't get any opportunities there. And that was basically the end of my hunt. So at least an eventful last day of spring black bear season. At least my tag is still good in the fall. Obviously made a few mistakes today along the way, which didn't lead to a harvest, but I definitely learned some new skills. Learned a bit about pred calling, and as they say, you always learn more from your failures than your successes, so hopefully I can take the lessons learned here and be better next spring. Also, I think I'm onto a pretty good area for spring black bear now, seeing 2 bears there in a couple weeks, so yeah, on to the next season. Lessons learned.